What's up, guys? I'm Juran.
And I'm Linda, and welcome to When Friends Link.
So, on this episode, we are continuing our mini-series about dating etiquette. This is part 3 of our mini-series. We hope that you guys have enjoyed so far all of our episodes, but also especially the mini-series that we've been doing as it pertains to dating etiquette. So for this episode, we're going to go a little more in depth about the stages of dating. Specifically, we're going to start off with stage 1, which is the talking stage.
Yes, so I know we're going backwards, but a lot of you guys were asking for this episode, so we decided to do it.
Specifically for you guys that have been asking us questions. So let's start from the beginning. The talking stage. That is essentially like ground level. You are ground zero, starting from the bottom. Now we here. We starting with this stage. Talking stage is stage 1. So in the talking stage, it starts honestly right after you guys exchange numbers. I would say socials, but I really don't consider that something serious if you guys don't exchange numbers and are only communicating on social media like Snapchat and Instagram or Facebook. I don't consider that really serious. I consider it you're really ready to take that next step of the talking stage if you guys exchange numbers. So with that being said, talking stage starts right after you guys exchange numbers. The talking stage really consists of texting every day, talking on the phone, constant communication is what I will say. This is how you get to know someone. Constantly communicating. I do not consider personally, this is all just our personal opinions. Personally, I don't consider a talking stage if we're talking maybe once or twice a week. If I'm not hearing from you consistently, the way I'm set up, I like a good morning text. I like to wake up to a good morning, babe. Well, not babe. Well, no, we're not there yet. Sorry. But a good morning. I like to wake up to a good morning and a good night if you can. Sometimes you fall asleep in the middle of a conversation. That's fine. But so talking stage, like I said, we talk every day, whether it's texting, and then gradually move to maybe talking on the phone or FaceTiming. And this is when you're exchanging information and getting to know one another.
Yes, and I definitely like to take this opportunity to see if in this talking stage, this is something that's going to be serious or not. So when I start to talk to a guy, I have a list of just 3 non-negotiables. So one is communication. Just like she said, I like constant communication. Call me every day or text me. I do like to be chased a little, and I've heard men like women to shoot their shot. Shooting my shot is I will probably text you once, like before you text me, but that's just one time. That's how you know I'm into you. If I don't ever do that, then no, I'm not into you. But right now we both are into each other, so non-negotiables, the 3: communication. I like a man who's honest and like loyal. So like you just pick any 3 non-negotiables. I know certain men have certain requests as well. One time I met a guy, we had a nice conversation the first day. Then he mentioned something about smoking, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I actually don't smoke. That was the last I ever heard from him. That was his non-negotiable. He wanted a girl that smoked, and I was like, I'm sorry, I just don't smoke. So I also like this part where like because it's one little thing you don't like, it's so easy just to cut somebody off. I personally don't like ghosting. I personally would rather just be like, I don't think this is gonna work out, and hopefully the other person can understand. It's like, oh, I totally get it or whatever. But just being honest, because we're at that age where it's like we don't really need to ghost. But I guess if it's just the first day and it's just not going where it needs to go, then I'm not responding. I'm not gonna lie, but that's just the first day. But if we've been talking for a few days, just let me know.
I think for me, I'm not a fan of ghosting. I don't think I've ever done ghosting. I could be wrong. Quote me on this. But I don't think I've ever really ghosted someone, just because I do think that ghosting is not fair, because then the other person is left wondering. Again, I think it's all circumstantial though and situational. I think it depends. I think the only time I personally would say ghosting is acceptable if you've expressed numerous times that it's not gonna work, and and they're just refusing to accept it, then I can say fine, it's ghosting. But like you said, first date, I don't think it's really that bad of talking, and you realize it doesn't work, say, hey, you seem like a cool person, but we not meshing. I don't think it's that hard to let people know that. But again, like you said, it depends. It's first day, it's okay. But
so when it's the first day of talking, I think you have to, of course, introduce yourself, tell the other person what you like, but don't be boring about it. I hate when people are like, oh, my favorite color is blue. It's like, this is not really important. I think have a nice conversation with like, okay, so I happen to live in this part of the city, like, because it's like, oh, do I really want to be traveling? Like, if let's say you live an hour away from me, like, oh, like it's always gonna be far away dates, but it's up to you.
So I don't know if we mentioned earlier, but the talking stage can be awkward, and I think that it is important to understand that when you're in the talking stage, just because it is still the talking stage, that does not mean that you just talk about nothing. Asking me what I'm doing every 5 minutes is not us in a talking stage at that point. If you're asking every once in a while, okay, cool, that's fine. But if we just sitting on the phone in silence, and every now and again you come in, what are you doing? Getting off this phone because you didn't ask what I'm doing too many times at this point, and clearly there's no like chemistry at that point. I think asking how was your day, that's okay. That is okay. However, don't keep asking because I only have one day at a time. So if you ask me once and I tell you how it is and I ask you, then we move on to the next topic. But like I said, I know we understand that the talking stage can be the awkward stage because you're still easing in to talking to someone and getting to know somebody. So it's definitely important to understand the types of conversations to have, because you also do not want to go into the talking stage with heavy conversations. I once had a guy that I was talking to. We were, I feel like, in the talking stages very early. Hadn't gone on a date yet. And we were on the phone talking, and I really don't know how this conversation came up. I can promise you it was him, though it was not me. And we were talking, and this man asked me what kind of porn do I like to watch. Yeah.
No.
Yes, I was thoroughly thrown off because, again, we hadn't even had a first date. And this was maybe like our second, third phone conversation. I'm not sure. And I let him know, like, I really don't feel like that's like an appropriate conversation to be having. We're nowhere near that stage. Like, I haven't even envisioned myself hooking up with you. Why do I need to talk to you about things like that? And he took offense to it and said it wasn't that deep. Proceeded to tell me the type of porn that he watched. Again, I'm not asking. I don't want to know. This is too soon. We're still very early in talking stages to be discussing the kind of porn that someone prefers to watch. So again, I think it's important to understand there are levels to the topics that you can discuss when you're in the talking stage. I think sex altogether is really off limits in the talking stages, especially when you're in the very early stages. And this is like meeting people through apps, y'all. This is why personally I don't go for it. I don't support online dating. I don't recommend it, but to each their own. Some people do find love with it. I don't. Juran doesn't. I'm not for it. So another guy, met on the app, talking stage is very early. I want to say this is probably our first phone conversation. And he begins to discuss how a woman has 30 days to have sex with him. Yes, he gives her a month to have sex with him. And if not, then he thinks there's a problem. She's wasting time. And, I was like, okay, well, I'm letting you know right now I'm not having sex with you in 30 days. Oh, well, I wish you would have said that because now you didn't turn me off. And why are we wasting time having this conversation? Sir, this is the first phone call anyway. What's no real time wasted? This was the first phone call and you're turned off. Okay, well, so am I. So it's okay though. This is talking stages, very early talking stages. So we can go our separate ways and never have to, worry about crossing paths or anything again. So, but again, that's why discussing the topics, certain topics, I do feel like are off limits, depending on what stage you are in the talking stage.
Yes, I definitely agree with you. I hate the what are you doing? Anything sexual. And I really hate when the guy's like, send me a picture. Ooh,
no. Hate it.
No, why do you need my picture?
I hate it.
I used to just give guys my Instagram, like go on my Instagram, find it. No, I want a picture that the whole world doesn't know about. Sir, what? No, who are you?
Right.
That I really hate, absolutely hate. I do like when I'm talking to a guy and he asks me questions about myself. I've noticed that some people, they just really like to talk and hear their own voice. So they just go on and on and on. I'm like, okay. Or they tell you stories and they bring up all these people's names. Let me tell you something. I don't remember names. I can watch a whole series. I don't know none of the characters' name. When I go to a restaurant, the waitress is like, hi, my name is Sally. I don't know who. I don't even know what they look like, their name. Like, to me, it's like, what? Can we just talk about you, not your friends, not your family? At least not on the first phone call.
Yeah.
Like, that's just me. But I would say if you have like a funny story, because I do like to laugh, like I said before, a funny story to share. And also, it's going to let me know, like, what kind of humor do you have?
Right.
Is it dark humor? Is it like comical humor? Is it like situational? Like stuff like that I really do like to know. I one time went on a date with this guy, but it was real soon. So I feel like this is still kind of talking / date. And for some reason he decided to tell me that one of his friends got arrested for child porn. Yeah, that was the last day ever. And I was like, sir, what? Yeah, crazy. So stuff like that, just you have to be appropriate. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, to go back to what you said really quickly about the sending pictures, I'm the exact same way. I really, like, I'm instantly turned off when a guy says, send me a picture. I don't know, guys, maybe you guys can tell us in the comments, why do y'all do that? Like, genuinely, this is genuinely us trying to understand, because literally we could be texting, we could be on the phone, send me a picture. Like, I don't even like, I don't have a boyfriend, but when I do have a boyfriend, I'm in a relationship, I don't even like when he says send me a picture. It get on my nerves. I do it because at that point I understand he's my boyfriend, whatever. But if we just met, we still early stages, and if you have me on social media like Instagram, why do I need to send you a picture? Why do you need to see a picture that the whole world doesn't see? You know? So maybe you guys can tell us about that in the comments. But I think about what you were saying about the guy who made the comments about his friend being arrested, I think that also again plays into maybe the awkwardness of the talking stage. You don't know what to talk about. And I think honestly, and this is again just my personal opinion, I feel like if you're that awkward and that struggling for conversation, maybe you guys aren't compatible, because I feel like conversation should be able to flow easily. If you guys are genuinely clicking and the chemistry, the vibe, the energy is there. I'm not going to say that there's never an awkward moment, because maybe after a while you're shy, you're nervous, you know, but for the most part, if you're like awkward like that, maybe you guys aren't the best match, because it shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I do get nervous and I don't know what to talk about, but then I'm like, oh hey, I just watched this new movie on Netflix. Like, did you watch it? What's your insight? Or what do you like to watch on Netflix?
Right.
Everybody has Netflix. That's a really great conversation to have, that you can see like, oh, maybe they like documentaries, or maybe they just like reality TV shows, stuff like that. You can definitely form a conversation. Okay, one thing I do hate what a guy does sometimes during the talking stage is where he kind of tells me like every 5 minutes what he's about to do. Like, oh yeah, I'm about to go play ball with my boys. Oh yeah, so I just like won this game. And I was like, okay, like how am I supposed to respond? Like, maybe if it's on the phone, I'm like, okay, like was it good? Like, you know, do you play this often? Like, that's easy. But like when you telling me like, oh yeah, I'm about to go play ball, okay,
you know what?
Like, I don't know if you're asking permission. I think it's kind of weird. Like,
I think that's interesting. I think that, like, if a guy does stuff like that, it's because they're genuine, like, they're interested and they want to let you in. But I do know some people don't like when they're given a play-by-play of a person's day. I don't mind it, just because, like I said, I feel like maybe I could be wrong. Like I said, I could be in my head crazy. But I think maybe it means that, like, oh, he, like, actually, like, wants me to talk to him like about his day. He wants to let me in on the parts of his life, I guess.
So I'm okay with that, but if it's towards the end, like let's say you call me in the morning, you're like, oh, this is what I'm about to do today. Okay, cool. Then at night, you're like, okay, so this is how my day went. cool. But during, it's like, I don't know what to
throughout
say.
the
It's just like, what? This is the texting part. I'm like, okay, have fun. Like, I don't know. And then like they want to keep the conversation. I'm like, I get you want to keep the conversation, but like I'm not gonna ghost you.
Right.
Like we can talk later. But I mean that's just me. I know I'm not alone.
I think you're probably definitely not alone. I think it really depends because I was once in a talking stage with a guy and middle of the day he kind of, or well it's like towards the end of the day, but he kind of let me know, oh, you know, so BRB, I'm about to go like to the gym or whatever, and I'm just letting you know so you won't be like wondering why you haven't heard from me in like an hour or so. So I think it depends maybe on what you guys are talking about. But then sometimes I do think it's a little weird depending on what they say, because I've also been in talking stages where guys are like, BRB, I'm going to charge my phone. Now I'm looking at you crazy, and I think that you going on a date with a girl or something. Because who announces via text that they're going to go charge their phones or they're disappearing? You know, like, you just put your phone on the charger and you go, because you can still text when you're charging your phone. Now, if we're talking on the phone, then I can understand. But because this is a talking stage and when they're early stages of it, if you tell me BRB, I'm going to charge my phone, I think you moving funny.
I was going to say, I feel like if a guy has to tell me step by step what he's doing, I'm like, so is this what you did in your last relationship? Did she not trust you? Are you trying to make me gain your trust? Like, that's just what I think. I'm not sure if it's true. It's my own personal opinion. But
I think it probably depends, because maybe some people are just really detail oriented and they like giving details of their day. However, if it's someone who gives you details of their day, but they don't ask about you, I'm gonna just feel like you're selfish. You're selfish, you're inconsiderate, you're narcissist. Any of those three, you like to talk about yourself. Because it's one thing we giving play-by-plays of our days to each other, but if you're the only one giving a play-by-play and you ain't bothering to ask me about a play-by-play of my day, you ain't even giving me a chance to give a play-by-play about my day, you just like to listen to yourself talk, and you just want fans, or you want people all so wrapped up in you and your day and what you're doing, and you're not reciprocating anything.
You know, I remember one time my friend went on a date with this guy, and he was fine. Okay, like we all were like, "Ooh, girl, he is so fine." She went on a date with him. The next day, we're like, "Oh, girl, tell us what happened."
Right.
She was like, all he did was talk about himself. The only question he asked was, "So what else do you want to know about me?" Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then after that, we was like, "Oh, he ain't fine no more."
Yeah.
Like at all, no.
That would have had me completely speechless and caught off guard. Because, like, what do you mean? What else do I want to know about you? Like, sir, I guess I think I didn't heard it.
Okay, yeah.
I know enough. Maybe you should ask me about myself.
I think because he was very good looking, and he knew it. So he was like, yeah, so what else you want to know? It's like, nothing, sir. Just remember, looks are not personalities.
So very true. Very true. I think I hate when there's like really like pretty women or really attractive men, and they try to force their personality to be a certain way. Like they're trying to prove to you that they're goofy or that they're silly. And instead it's just cringy, because it's like what you're doing I can tell it's forced. Now again, we're still in the talking stage, so I'm getting to know you, but if I can tell that you're forcing to be someone that you're not, or forcing a personality trait that I feel like doesn't come naturally, then it's not gonna work.
Also, please don't lie either. Sometimes I feel like I've talked to guys and they'll say something, and then maybe they didn't think this was going to like go anywhere, ends up going somewhere. Come to find out it was a lie. I'm like, didn't you tell me this in the first? That has happened a few times, and you know the guy ends up being embarrassed, and y'all guys do this thing where you change the subject and then you change it again, and then like the girl just forgets. Yeah, don't do that no more. Have you ever noticed they do that?
I don't think I have, because
who am I dating?
No, because I have really good memory. I remember almost everything. I feel like I have the memory of an elephant, so it's kind of like, for the most part, I will remember a topic that you said. If you said this and then you jumped to here, but I knew I had something to say, I'm going to be like, I'm going to let you finish. and then once you're done, so let's go back to this topic.
Okay.
Because that's just me, but I mean, it probably has happened. But I just remember everything.
Oh, you good? Cause sometimes it works on me. I'm not gonna lie. But then I remember again. I'm like, no.
The worst is like when you laying in bed at night and you remember, you're like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
He said this and that didn't even make no sense. Mm-hmm. But now you can't even ask me to bring it up because
I sure do. You wake up, you can see that text message from me. Mm-hmm.
That's funny. I don't do that. I feel like if there's something I do forget, I just let it go. So I guess after the talking stage, obviously would follow the dating stage, but also the talking stage becomes more intense because you're no longer just in that ground zero of the talking stage, depending on how long you're talking. Also, please, I really feel like we need to separate between the talking stage. The talking stage should not last a year. There's no reason why. I've known you for a year. We've gone on plenty of dates. Maybe we're hooking up, we're acting like a couple, but it's still just being described as we're talking. Mm-hmm. No. Talking stage is literally that. It's a talking stage and is a stage, and you move on to stage 2. Please do not extend the talking stage. Please do not give the talking stage a title when it's not a title. It just describes what you guys are doing. Mm-hmm. And once you've done that, we move on to the next thing. I feel like a lot of times, the talking stage has just been like normalized to just be, we're just talking. Mm-hmm. Oh, you guys together? No, we're talking. I don't know what that means. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that means. If I'm engaging a man, if we're pursuing each other, I'm not gonna sit here and be like 6 months later, oh, we're just still talking. But again, that is just me.
How long do you think a talking stage lasts?
That's a good question. I would say, and this even might be pushing it, but I'm gonna give you 3 months because I feel like by 3,
This is talking and dating though, right?
What do you mean?
Oh, so for me, I think talking is before we go on dates. Then if we're going on multiple dates and it's like the 3rd date, now we're dating. Okay. We're not exclusive then.
Okay.
And then when I ask you and you're like, okay, we're gonna be exclusive, then yeah.
I get what you're saying. Okay, well, I guess because I answered it the way I did do a talking stage with the guy where we talked for like a good amount of maybe like 2-3 months before we went on our first date.
Oh, okay.
But I do feel like that is a little excessive.
Just a little.
That's a little long, but I was okay with it. I didn't mind it. But so I guess the talking stage without any dates, I personally feel like should not last longer than a month. I feel like if we're especially if we're talking consistently, if we're talking every day like we should be, part of the 3 things that you said you're looking for, like you mentioned earlier, for me it's consistency. And if we are consistently talking every day, then there's no reason by after the first month at least we haven't gone on a date, at least one date, and like you said, easing into phase 2 or stage 2, which would then be we are dating.
Yeah, so I definitely agree. I think talking for me, it's 2 to 3 months. 2 to 3 weeks.
Giving people ideas. No, I could string her along for 3 months.
2 to 3 weeks, and then you ask me on a date, and then, because, talk on the phone, and then being with somebody in person, I feel like it's totally different. Just like men always say, the vibes. I hate when they say that. What are you looking for? We just fill out the vibes. No.
Like, what does that even mean?
Okay. But, yeah, I definitely 2 to 3 weeks. We get to know each other. You know what type of food I like. I know what type of food you like. Then we go on a nice date.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And then it's usually not awkward when you go on the first date after talking to someone for a while. I've noticed a difference. That's why I say I prefer to talk to a guy at least a week or 2 before he asks me out, because if it's like the next day, it's always super awkward. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know what to say.
I think the talking stage like this also, like you said, getting to know each other, and this is why it's important to pay attention to this, because then this can help you plan the date for whoever plans it again. So if you guys have spent 2 weeks talking and sis has told you she is allergic to shellfish and seafood, your first date should not be at a seafood restaurant. So because you're not listening now, that's what that demonstrates. So again, this extended talking stage, not extended, but like the 1 month max talking stage is what you use to get to know the person, so you guys can plan how you're gonna date each other, the type of dates you guys are gonna go on, what kind of movies you're gonna watch, things of that nature. That's why the talking stage, I feel like, is really important, and that's why it shouldn't last forever.
Yeah, exactly.
And it shouldn't be used to describe your relationship. We're just talking. No, because if y'all are dating and hooking up, sis, you're no longer talking. Sir, you're no longer, that's not talking, because y'all are doing more than talking.
Yeah, so I definitely think you should have that talk to know, like, just have a title. I know some people don't like to have titles on things, but that doesn't make any sense. Like, there's titles and everything.
I feel like when there's no titles, it just gives justification to do things. So like, well, we're not boyfriend and girlfriend, so that's why I'm hooking up with this person. Yeah, but we sit on the phone every night, so why are you still going on dates with other girls? Why are you hooking up with other girls or hooking up with other guys, going on dates with other guys? You know, but there's no title. So again, to each their own when it comes to titles, but I don't know, I just feel like titles, it helps set boundaries. The stages of the talking, dating, all of that, it helps to set boundaries and build the foundation for whatever kind of relationship you guys are gonna have.
I agree. I definitely think it's important to have a friendship first before dating, because that also helps. Because I feel like when you're dating, you're also on your best behavior. So people do like to embellish and lie a little. But if you start off as friends, as talking, you're not as nervous, and you most likely are going to tell the truth.
Right.
And you tend to be a little bit more goofier, because I need to know how goofy you are, okay, in the beginning. Because if I find out that you're like dark goofy, that to me, no.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely important to use the talking stage to get to know someone and get to know all their quirks. Again, you're not going to find out everything about a person, because people are constantly changing and constantly evolving and growing. Well, that's always the hope. So you're not always going to know a person, but again, that's why it's important to use the different stages of dating and relationships to have a successful relationship or whatever. And hopefully we can retire the word situationship.
Okay.
I don't know what that is. And I do not want to be in one.
Okay.
And I don't think you should be in one. So again, we have, I don't know, normalized all these weird words. And no, let's get rid of them. We're in the talking stage. Once that ends, we move on to the dating stage and then go from there.
Yeah, when you definitely intentionally date, that's when you notice difference. So with a guy and a woman.
So I mean, we'll go into more like details with the dating stage in a later episode, because you guys have been asking us too about that and to give our opinions about the dating stages. So we'll incorporate that in this little mini series of dating etiquette.
Yes, so thanks guys so much for joining us.
Yes, we hope you guys are enjoying everything that's happening and that we're discussing so far. As always, feel free to like, comment, give your opinions. We are here to listen and talk. This is the open forum, you know. We can address comments in like future episodes as well. So thanks for tuning in.
Thank you guys.
And we hope to see you in the next episode.
Thanks. Bye guys.
Bye.